Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Great Scott. You'll notice that I am wearing a Batman t-shirt. That's further proof that I am not against Batman, as many people say. The reason I don't like the Nolan films is because I just don't like Batman. That's what I always hear from everyone. As you can see, I have a couple of Batman books here. I have the dailies. I have the Superman dailies. And I have here Enemies and Allies, which is a fantastic book by Kevin J. Anderson. If you haven't read it, check it out. It's pretty awesome. If I remember correctly, it's in the 50s, and it's the one where they first meet, and they go up against I believe Lex Luthor, and the idea that there might be alien invasions and things like that. People are afraid. There's things going on, but check it out. It's a good book. People always like to see Superman and Batman meet for the first time. A lot of people now are saying, well, the Nolan trilogy is done. What we need now is a world's finest movie with Superman and with Batman, and everybody's, everybody that's a fan of those Nolan films is hoping for Bale to come and be in Justice League or be in a new world's finest movie. He's already said that he's done. He has mentioned, who knows, we go away for 10 years or something, maybe we come back to it. Of course, many people would say Bale's already too old to be playing Batman, and I say that only because I think of an athlete. Batman is a guy who has trained to the peak of human perfection. He's a ninja, at least in the Nolan films, and he fights crime. So the more times he gets shot, the more times he falls off buildings on the roofs of cars and hurts his knee, the more times he has injuries, the quicker his retirement age is going to come up. In the new movie, The Dark Knight Rises, which I just saw this week, my brother kept bugging me because he said that I would like it. He doesn't know how, as a comic book fan, I wouldn't be able to like it, even though he knows I didn't like the first two, and I'm here to tell you, in my view, The Dark Knight Rises was the best of the three. I actually enjoyed this one for the most part, where I didn't enjoy the other two very much, although I did like Batman Begins best before I saw this one. Heath Ledger's Joker, obviously, was very, very good, and probably the high point of the second movie for me, but there was a lot of filler, a lot of explosions, a lot of things going on, and not a lot of story or character, even though the critics and everybody else would have you believe that the best thing about the Nolan films is that they're deep and they have a lot of character work. What I did find in the new movie was that there was a lot of character work, and that there was a lot of story, whereas in the other two, I thought that they were lacking. So, to help out some of the people who are mad at me for not liking the Nolan films, I did want to come out and say that The Dark Knight Rises was definitely much better than I thought it would be. I expected it to be completely more of the same, and I expected not to enjoy it at all. There were a lot of holes. There were a lot of issues that I had. I'm not going to go into that now. This really isn't a Batman show, but I did want to mention that I thought it was better, which gives me a little hope, being that Nolan and crew are involved in the Superman movie. I am glad that Snyder is the director, because I've had enough seeing the darkness, the bleakness, the depressingness. I think I get the impression that that's really what Nolan likes to put across. Memento was a great movie. I loved it, but it was very depressing. It was kind of a downer. And I think that that's what Nolan likes to do. He calls it realism, whatever. Okay, so maybe the real world is very depressing. But I did want to say that I enjoyed the movie definitely much more than I thought. It was a fairly decent portrayal of the Bane story and the Breaking the Bat thing and all that. I'm not going to go into any details in case some of you haven't seen it. I didn't think I was going to see it for a year or more, when it came on television for free. But I did go and see it, and I was impressed of a number of things impressed me. I thought Anne Hathaway was fantastic. But I just wanted to say that, maybe we will get Man of Steel film, even with Nolan's involvement, that won't be necessarily all bleak, all depressing, all down. And hopefully we'll get some awe-inspiring things, and the character of Superman himself will be awe-inspiring. I will say that Batman in these three films did get to be inspiring in a number of ways, but he also was probably the darkest I've ever seen Batman portrayed a very negative kind of character, and that's exactly the opposite of what we want Superman to be. And it depends on who's telling the story. Batman isn't always like that, but he was very Wolverine-like in terms of his attitude. A lot of times he's a lot more inspiring than he was in his attitude. Some of his actions in these movies were very inspiring, some of the things he manages to accomplish. But now that we're moving on to Man of Steel, I am hoping that we see a little more positivity, even if the world is bleak, even if there are some horrible things going on. And I think that's what people are most worried about. They're talking about a dark Superman, a dark movie, a dark, continuing with the Nolan thing. And I think that his involvement in terms of that will be minimal, although he will be influencing some of what happens. Well, we'll see how it goes. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And remember, I am vengeance. I'm the night. I'm Batman!